A couple million feet all cash, baby. I eat a little cheese and a rash, baby. I eat a little cheese like snack, baby.
What's going on, YouTube? Back with another video. Today's video is episode 4 of a series breaking through mental health with Twany Beckham. His story is amazing. He has a lot of experience and personal stories to share with us today. He played at Mississippi State for 2 years, and then he walked on for Kentucky in 2011. A week later into practice, he got a full scholarship. He won the national championship in 2012. He also underwent a career-ending back surgery. He found a new passion in writing and wrote his first book called Full Court Press in 2013. As of now, he's written about 5 books with another one soon to be released. Less than a week ago, he became the president of his very own publishing company, IVISIONPRESS. Not only is he an author, but he's also a mentor to younger kids and a motivational speaker. So I think it's pretty cool to have a player who played for Kentucky under Coach Cal. I feel like he learned a lot not only because he was under Coach Cal, but he also went through a lot of obstacles and life-changing experiences that affected his mental health. We got Twany Beckham out here for us. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us. Let's get things started. So first question, give us a little description about yourself, where you're from, your upbringing, childhood, how you got into basketball.
Okay, cool. So I'm now 32 years old. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I grew up in a really tough neighborhood called the Beach Terrace Projects. I grew up to a single mother with 3 kids by the age of 21, not a lot of education. Grew up in a community where, a lot of people don't make it out or past, 25. Not a lot of people successful. But for me, basketball was something that I hung my head on to get me out of the community and the situation that, I was brought up in. And from a young age, I always knew that I would be successful because of the work that I put in the game of basketball and how dedicated I was to making myself successful throughout my career, my journey. Growing up, I was always one of the better kids in the neighborhood. Was highly ranked as a football and a basketball player as a young kid. Got to high school, dominated high school at every level. Had a chance to go to prep school to kind of further my recruitment and to get some eyes on me from some recruiters that didn't get a chance to see me in Kentucky. Was able to do that, earned a whole lot of high major offers, attended Mississippi State University as a freshman, SEC champion. Then as a sophomore, had double hip surgery. Then as a junior, I decided to transfer to Kentucky, won a national championship in my first year in 2012. And then my senior year, career ended having to have back surgery. So my career was cut short, but I was one of those athletes that went through that post-athletic transition stress and kind of mental toughness as well because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time because life hits you pretty fast when everything all of a sudden just stops. So I decided to get into writing, wrote my first book in 2013, and haven't looked back. Writing the book was able to catapult me into speaking, to sharing my story all around to a lot of people. And I just saw the way that changed lives. And, I've done so much since then. I've traveled the world, the country, connecting with so many people, changing lives on so many different levels. I've now written my 4th book, about to release my 5th one in about a month. And I'm just blessed that it's kind of cliche saying it now that it's happened to me, but it's like blessed that I was able to transition at such a young age at 23, 24, because I was able to find a purpose. And a lot of athletes, they play a very long time, whether if it's in the NBA or overseas. And when they get done playing, it's just hard to find a purpose. And I'm just blessed that God was able to allow me to find a purpose with, going through my trials and tribulations at such a young age. And now I am a NBA agent, licensed NBA agent, which I'm true. So I'm just looking forward to what this journey has to offer.
Facts. Nice. Okay. So this is perfect for the next question then. You've obviously been around sports your whole entire life. and you've been through a lot of ups and downs, but became super successful. So why do you think there's this stigma with mental health in the sports world?
I think a lot of people are kind of taught to suppress it, to be tough, to not really talk about how you truly feel, because the only thing that matters is how you playing on the field, on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot don't understand that when you get off the field, off the court, you are a normal person. You go through what normal human beings go through. You go through you have emotions, and a lot of times we have family issues, family troubles, family trauma. Sometimes we know we have troubles with our friends. So it's a lot of things that you go through off the court that I think people are telling you to suppress. Um, and that's for me myself. It was like none of that stuff matters. You have to get to the NBA, put all of that to the side. But then you would go home and get out the court, go back to my dorm room, and be feeling low sometimes. I'm feeling stressed because of suppressing the emotions that I had. And so I think now, more often in life, I think you starting to see more people speak out and speak up, because I think it's becoming more prevalent that people are not trying to suppress how they feel anymore. That it's mental health is a real thing, especially in the athletic world. And I think it's time, and I appreciate you know um, having interviews and to help push this narrative forward.
Right. Yeah, that's why I reached out to you. I thought you were perfect. I see you on social media all the time, so I just thought it was really perfect, and think your words hold a lot of power. So I agree with your answer for sure. And so initially you weren't, like you said, recruited by University of Kentucky, but then after a double hip surgery, you decided to walk on. And then a week into practice, you got a scholarship at the University of Kentucky. So just talk about that part of your journey and what was going on through your head as you had that double hip surgery, you walked on, you got a scholarship. So talk about that part.
It was a situation where as I was transferring, I had to make a decision, because I had an opportunity to go to a lot of mid-major schools where I probably would have played 25 to 30 minutes. But then I met with Coach Cal at UK, and it was like, you come here, you may not play, or you may play. Um, and that was a challenge that I was willing to take, because I knew that if I played at Kentucky, I went there, got my grades, kept my grades up, and formed relationships with those players, that you know there's no telling where that could lead me to. And so I had a decision: do I want to go to mid-major, small major, play a lot of minutes, or do I want to go play for a Hall of Fame coach who I'll be able to learn from, and probably take away a lot of life lessons after I get done playing. And that was the decision I made. Even though I was able to get in some games and play, the bigger story for me was to learn from, a Hall of Fame coach, and also to form relationships with those teammates that I had at the time. So it was kind of my thought process. A lot of people in my family were, um, not wanting me to make that decision, because of course, your loved ones want to see you playing. But it was like, a situation for me where I had to think about myself, and I had to put myself first, because a lot of people, um, wanted to see me playing 30 minutes a game. But for me, it was something bigger than that. I had to go make a decision to where I had to think about my future.
Right. This may not have to do with mental health as much, but I just remembered you did play for Coach Cal. So how was that experience? Just playing with Coach Cal in general.
It was amazing. Coach is an unbelievable person. He pushes you every day. He's going to get the best out of you every single day. From the time from the time you go to sleep, man, Coach Cal has his imprint on you. For me, like I told you, it was an opportunity that I never take for granted. Kentucky was all, and I saw what Coach Cal was doing in Memphis, and how he was trained, and how he transformed that program when I was a kid. So to see him come to Kentucky, and me had the opportunity to go there and play, and not only play, just learn from him. And I knew that once I got around him, and when I got around him, um, saw just the lessons and the valuable interactions that he had with not only myself but all of my teammates, the coaching staff, the fan base. I knew it would be something that would be with me for the rest of my career and my entire journey. So going to Kentucky over choosing to go to a small major and play a lot of minutes was everything for me. Like I said, it was a decision um, that to me wasn't tough. My family it be at the beginning, wanting me to go somewhere and play all these minutes, but I'm like, nah, I'm going to Kentucky and I'm gonna learn from the best and play with the best.
That's dope. I asked because I'm sure a lot of people probably curious about the experience that it was with Coach Cal. So thank you for sharing. So you grew up in some of the toughest parts of Louisville. It was either school or prison, essentially. So how are you able to focus your mind on the right things and on the right path?
I had an unbelievable mom. My mom was, even though we did grow up in the projects, she was a very disciplined mom, and she made sure me and my brother stayed out of trouble. She made sure I kept the main thing, which was basketball. And that was what, essentially kept me out of trouble and kept me on a straight and narrow path and kept my head focused on basketball. And so, with today being Mom's Day, Mother's Day, I just always thank her for um, my mentality, my work ethic, the way I treat people, how serious I take my life, because my mom took life serious every single day. There was never no shortcuts. There was never no um, nights off. There was never no cheat to get to where you want to get to. No, my mom made sure I worked my butt off, and it's paid off. You know what I mean? I'm able to help my mom in ways that I never thought I would. I'm able to, see my mom have a smile on her face by some of the things that I'm doing with my life. And that's essentially just the power and just having a strong mother, what it could do for you.
Absolutely. I agree. And so you underwent a career-ending surgery, a career-ending back surgery at the University of Kentucky. So talk to us about that part of your journey and, what was going through your head when you found out that, I guess that was it.
And that was tough. You do something for, your entire life, and which was play basketball, and you get to a point to where you're that close to reaching your dream, which mine was the NBA, or even playing overseas. You get that close, and then out of nowhere, you have to have back surgery, and everything's done, everything's over. So for me, that was tough. But at the same time, God has a plan, and He had a plan for me. And so it's kind of easy for me to say that now,
Yeah.
that I'm thankful that I had back surgery. It's easy for me to say that now, but at the same time, I'm so glad that I was able to transition at such a young age, like I mentioned, because I was able to find my purpose at such a young age.
You did it pretty quickly too, I think.
Uh,
You did that transition pretty quick too.
yeah, I know. Sometimes it's a struggle. I know friends who are athletes or have read stories on people who struggle to find that purpose and transitioning out of the game or whatever sport they played. And so for me, it happened. You're right, it happened quickly. But when I was going through it, it seemed like it was taking forever. You know what I mean? Like each day was hard that I wasn't playing basketball, that I wasn't doing what I was doing, had done for 23 years of my life. But at the same time, as I started to transition and I started to see the impact that my story had and the impact that my life had on other people, I think it made the transition easy for me.
And so through your step backs and through that period of time, were you able to talk about your mental health openly, and did you receive the proper support and treatment?
Yes, I was able to talk about my mental health, through, my post, athletic experience. And I think that was one of the reasons that I was able to openly, share and be vulnerable with the world, because, what I went through at such a young age, I don't think a lot of people will have experienced, at 23, and somebody telling you you can never play basketball at that high level like that again. That was very traumatic for me. And I think by writing and not suppressing, those feelings, I was able to unleash and get that out. And it was, like I said, mentioned, it was able to catapult me into speaking and to continue to write more books. Um, but for me, it was something that, I thought that me being vulnerable, me talking about my mental health to the world, was only going to not only help myself, but it helped so many other people. So many other people felt like they could come out and talk about what they were going through as well. And a lot of times when I have speaking engagement, the people that come up to me afterwards and say thank you for being such an open person with your life and your mental health. You have, inspired me to open up and be vulnerable myself. So
This is good. So going back to again finding your purpose, after you retired from the game, you got your college degree, and that's when you wrote your first book, Full Court Press, in 2013. How were you able to find your purpose so quickly? Like, what kind of like triggered like, okay, next step? Because a lot of athletes, like you said, have that hard time of transitioning. So what, I guess, essentially, what made you different? Like, what was the turn on switch? Like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna go on to the next move.
the first speaking engagement I had was to like 5 people. It was right after my book released, and I didn't even prepare. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I just went because I didn't really understand at that point of how much preparation that needs to go into your speaking engagements, or how you need to prepare or what you need to talk about. I didn't know. I was just going off the whim, and I said, I'm gonna go and share my story. I had a book. That's all I had was a book, and like I say, no preparation. And to that small group of people after that speaking engagement, the effect that everything I talked about had on them, and I was like, man, this is what I'm gonna do. And it wasn't about. I don't even think I made any money on that first speaking engagement. Like I said, it was a small group, but afterwards, this how I made those people feel and how it made me feel. I said, this is it. This is what I'm doing in my life. Like I'm gonna get into the business of helping people. It ain't about the business of speaking, and it ain't the business of helping or writing books. It's just the business of helping people. And
It's
every day
contagious. It makes you feel good.
yeah, just every day, like I said, I have multiple people that I communicate with, that I help, that I help mentor, that I would never even share with the world. People reach out to me for advice all the time, and I find time to set aside to just help people. I want to see everybody happy. My goal is to see everybody happy. I don't want to be around nobody that's miserable, whether that's playing a sport or not playing a sport. My goal is to see everybody happy. I'm a happy person. I live life to the fullest. I enjoy my life. So I want to see a lot of people around me happy as well. So anything that I can do, any motivation or encouragement I can give to people, I always do, because I want to see people happy. Even when I ain't got the time, people hit me and want to talk or want to talk about something they got going on, I make time because I essentially just want to see people happy.
More people need to have that mentality. It's contagious and it's life changing.
Yes,
And then after the first book, you wrote your second book called Pressure not too long after, and it basically talks about the pressures of life and turning it into joy. So what inspired you to write that book?
Pressure was just inspired by everything that I've been through in my life, but it was also me, just how I just mentioned, I want everybody to be happy. I looked at from afar on a micro level, and I said, man, I want people to open up and be vulnerable just like I am. So every person that I had some type of close relationship with, I interviewed for my book. And just watching some of the interactions as I was interviewing them and how they were able to just kind of get some things off their chest, and open up and be vulnerable was like I said, not only helped them, but it helped me. I was able to learn a lot about my dad and interviewing for my book. I learned a lot about my brother, my mom, my pops, some friends that I have. I was able to kind of learn a little bit more about them just by interviewing them for my book. And Precious, I believe, is one of the best books in the world. I'm telling you, I try to write it to where everybody, wherever you are in your life, if you read Pressure, you can relate, and it will help you. So if you don't got it, never heard about it, you want to read it, I'd advise you to please go pick that up. I'm telling you, to change your life.
Go ahead, talk about it all you want. Part of your purpose is being a mentor to younger kids and being a motivational speaker, like you said. What's something that you want the kids, people, regardless, what's something that you want them, at least one thing that you want them to take away from the interaction that you had with them?
I want, like I just mentioned, I want everybody to be happy. So whatever
It is happy.
And happiness, whatever it is that I do, man, whatever interaction I can have with you or anybody in the world or people that I do have with interaction with, I just want everybody to be happy. It's simple. I think people overcomplicate success. And I think success is simply being happy, waking up every day with a smile on your face and doing what you can do, or doing what you love or enjoy to do. And that's it. I think a lot of times we put our happiness on what other people think about us, material things, stuff, social media. I think we put too much emphasis on that stuff to make us happy. And so for me, man, I do a lot of work on, spending, not enough time on social media, but enough time on there. I stay away from my phone a lot. I just try to be in tune with who I am and where I'm at in life. And I just focus all the time and stay disciplined. And like I said, I think it helps me, keep my happiness. And so everybody that I'm able to connect with that comes around me, I'm able to kind of spill my happiness on them. And that's all I'm about. That's all I want. Like, I don't want nothing else from nobody. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life. It's just when I come in contact with you, I just want you to be happy. So if I can give you a word of advice, some type of encouragement, whatever the case that may be, I just want you to be happy, because I don't want to be the only person at the dinner table happy. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the only person, we about to sit down and eat steaks and I'm happy. I want everybody just to be happy.
When the only one happy, that's a buzzkill.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you so miserable? For what?
Right.
So, last question. I like to finish this question off with every person that I interview. What's your advice to athletes, trainers, anybody in the sports field? What's your advice when it comes to battling a mental health disorder?
My advice to anybody battling mental health is to don't be shy about talking about it, and also do what you got to do to take care of yourself. And everybody's experience is different. So sometimes, like I said, you try to seek other people's advice and opinions, and it might not be what's best for you. You got to find what makes you happy. You got to find what keeps you going, and stay dedicated and stay committed to doing just that. What you do might not be what brings me happiness. You know what I mean? What I do might not be what brings you happiness, but find what it is that makes you happy and focus on that. And when you do have your episodes where, you're struggling with your mental health, don't suppress it. Ask for help, or do, like I say, stay dedicated to something that keeps you happy. But we all go through it, so don't feel bad. If you have those days, you have those times where you're struggling, you can't get out of that rut that you're in, just know, man, the sun comes up every single day, and every single day you got a day to get it right.
All right. I appreciate that. Everybody watching, if you ever think of Twany, think about being happy. That's all you got to remember.
Yeah, just be happy, because I'm a super happy person, man, and I just want to, carry that over to you and whoever's listening. Just be happy. And I know sometimes that can be easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because we do what we go through, but your focus on is just on being happy, not worried about what nobody else thinks about you. Not worried about what social media thinks about you, what this person, what that person is doing. You focus on yourself and be happy, and I promise you're gonna live a good life. I promise you that.
I feel like once you get into that habit of just being happy, it's kind of like natural. And every time you go through an obstacle, it's your first instinct isn't to be unhappy. It's kind of just being happy and just trying to find a solution, but you're still happy. So it becomes a habit once you practice it.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Appreciate you. And there you go for episode 4. I hope that you were able to find inspiration in his story to help you conquer your own obstacles in your own life. Twany is a perfect example of someone who did not let his injuries or obstacles define him. Just because one dream didn't necessarily go as planned, it doesn't mean that you have no purpose in life, and that's basically it. There are other purposes out there for you. You just have to go out there and find it. And what I mean by find it, you're going to have to try different things. You're going to have to follow your heart. You're going to have to fight those destructive and negative thoughts. Believe in yourself. Keep pushing even on the days that you don't want to push through, because on those bad days, that's when a breakthrough will happen and everything will start making sense. And next thing you know, you found another dream. You found your purpose. Episode 5 will be another great episode, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you underdogs later.
I'm breaking chains. Tommy feeling bubbly off the rose. Friends turn to foes, haters tell them go away. Rappers making shiggy dance like a soul train.